In this video, you will learn all about how to read music and what all those characters mean. You will also learn the importance of each component in reading music. Remember that the concepts you will learn in this video are cumulative, so it is best if you take time to understand concepts before moving on. If at any time you need some more time to think about a concept, you may pause the video to do so. Also, if you would like to take notes on this video, you can. For those of you that don't know me, I have been in school band for 8 years since 5th grade, and I've taken private piano and trombone lessons. Since this video is for people with absolutely no music reading skills at all, let's start from the very beginning. There are 5 main components to this segment of music that are the foundations of all music. I am not considering the staff to be a component, but it is important to know about. A staff, or stave in plural form, is a series of 5 horizontal lines that provides the area to place notes in. The first component is the clefs. A clef is a figure that shows in what position the notes are in. There are 2 main clefs used in music. The clef that is circled is the treble clef. The clef below it is the bass clef. The second line from the bottom of the treble clef is the G line. That is why the treble clef can also be called the G clef. Similarly, the second line from the top of the bass clef is the F line. This clef can also be called the F clef. Here are all the note positionings, so if you would like to study them, you can pause the video and do so. The next crucial component to reading music is the key signature. A key signature signifies which notes are lowered, raised, or unaltered. For example, in this segment of music, there are 3 flats. The E, A, and B are all lowered. A flat lowers a note by a half step. A natural undoes a flat or sharp note, and a sharp note raises a note by a half step. Don't worry, things will get clearer. To better understand flats, naturals, and sharps, let's look at how they affect a note. If we look at the piano keyboard, we see the white notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. We also see the 5 black notes, C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, and A sharp or B flat. The second C shown is an octave above the first C. An octave is the distance from one note to the next note of its same name, like from C to C. There are 3 different symbols that affect any note: flat, natural, and sharp from left to right. A flat lowers a note, a natural returns a note to a white key, and a sharp raises a note. If we take a G natural, the white G key, and raise it by 1/2 step, it becomes a G sharp. If we make this G sharp natural, it returns to its G flat, G natural white key state. If we then lower this G natural by 1/2 step, it becomes a G flat. A natural note is always a white key. A half step is the distance between white and black keys of the same note. A whole step is 2 half steps. For instance, staying with the G, G flat is a half step away from G, whereas F is a whole step away from G. If 2 white keys do not have a black key between them, then they are a half step apart. Here are some more half and whole step examples. This next component in music is not directly related to reading music, but is part of key signatures. This chart is called the circle of fifths. It takes a starting key, C major, and adds one flat or sharp each time. The distance between the key of C, no sharps or flats, and F, one flat, is a fifth, hence circle of fifths. This chart is helpful to know because it lists all possible keys. The most possible number of sharps or flats in the key signature is 7 because there are 7 consecutive different notes before a note can repeat itself, the octave. Why do we need to know about key signatures? Every song is based off of a scale and a key signature. In order to better understand the circle of fifths, you must understand intervals. An interval is a distance between keys. For example, the interval between C and D is a second because there are 2 white keys involved in this interval. From C to E is a third involving 3 white keys. C to 4 is a fourth. C to G is a fifth. C to A is a sixth. C to B is a seventh. And C to C is an octave. Like I said earlier, every piece of music is based off of a scale. A scale is a pattern of notes within one octave. Every scale pattern is based off of the pattern in the C scale. Notice in this picture that every note in the C scale is natural. The key of E flat has the same pattern of notes. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. The same thing applies to the key of A. The next component to reading music is the time signature. The top number in the time signature tells how many beats are in one measure. The bottom number tells how many beats per measure. A beat in this case is 1/4 of a measure, or a quarter note. A measure is the number of beats indicated by the top number. In this segment of music, there are 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets a beat. The bottom number indicates which note gets the beat by telling how many of these notes are in a measure. Here are the note values, their names, the number of them in a measure of 4/4 time, and the number of quarter note beats per each note. The different colors in 16th notes represent 1 quarter note beat. The notes to the right of the 16th notes are 32nd notes and 64th notes from left to right. Now, let's look at some music and other time signatures. In the measure on the left, the music is in what is called 6/8 time. This means that there are 6 beats in a measure, and the 8th note gets a beat. But what's that dot doing next to the second quarter note in the bass clef? A dot next to a note means you are adding half of its value onto it. For example, a quarter note with no dot is 2/8 notes long, while the dotted quarter note is 3/8 notes long. Another time signature, the one displayed on the right, is called 3/4 time. In 3/4 time, there are 3 beats in a measure, and the quarter note gets 1 beat. The orange table shows the number of each note per whole note. The picture below it shows each note in its rest. A rest is when no note is played for the duration identified. For instance, a whole rest is 4 beats long. A half rest is 2, a quarter rest is 1, etc. Music isn't only limited to notes in the staff. Ledger lines allow composers and songwriters to expand the range of their pieces. A ledger line is a short horizontal line above or below the staves that extends the staves. Take a look at these notes in ledger lines. The last two components to reading music are shorter than the first three. Every piece has what is called a tempo marking. The word tempo means time in Italian. A tempo marking is made of a note value, an equal sign, and a number. The note value indicates by what beat the song is being counted. The number is the speed at which the song is played. For example, in this piece there are 80 quarter notes per minute, which means there are 1/68th notes per minute. The last component of reading music only applies to piano music. I would suggest that all beginners read piano music for a while until you fully understand music reading. The funky looking bracket the red arrow is pointing to signifies that this music is to be played both hands at the same time. In piano music, the right hand plays the notes in the treble clef, and the left hand plays the notes in the bass clef. Also in piano music, each finger on your hands have a number. This chart shows what number is assigned to each hand.